Hotel Artemis. Have you seen the trailers for Hotel Artemis?
I have not. No.
Okay, fine. So, written and directed by Drew Pearce, who had writing man credits on Iron Man and Mission Impossible movies in the past. It is a sort of near-future dystopian neo-noir set in 10 years in the future.
Say that again. It's a
near-future,
yes,
dystopian,
yes,
neo-noir.
Neo-noir, dystopian. Fully dystopian or...
It's fully dystopian.
Neo-dystopian?
No, it's fully dystopian.
All right, I've got all those.
Okay, and so Jodie Foster is this... yes, now you're interested. You thought I was... Up until that point, you didn't care. Now I've just said a name you recognise.
Hotel Artemis could be like an animation as well, couldn't it?
Yeah, it could, but it isn't. Although it has a cartoonish edge to it, which actually, therefore, you just said something very smart. Not on purpose, I hasten to add. But
eventually it was going to happen.
That's right.
Like monkeys typing...
like a stopped clock telling the right time. Anyway, so Jodie Foster runs the Hotel Artemis, which is basically a hospital, a sort of for wounded outlaws and vagabonds and fugitives. And the ground rules include that you can't be rude to the staff, which is basically Dave Bautista, who is a hospital orderly. He's just got a thing which says orderly, and he keeps pointing to it and saying, this is orderly. This means this. There's a responsibility. I'm a professional healthcare person, and not killing the other patients. And not killing the other patients is, of course, the big one. And inevitably, what happens is that in this hotel, which is in fact a hospital for ne'er-do-wells, you will end up getting patients there who have very good reason to want to kill each other. We start with a robbery that's happening in the middle of a riot. Somebody gets injured. They have to go to the Hotel Artemis, where amongst the current inmates are the obnoxious Charlie Day.
Hey, are we safe in here from doomsday? I mean, are these walls fortified with anything? Those people are animals.
They just want clean water.
Well, then they can get a job and pay for water like the rest of us. You don't like that? You one of those bleeding heart types? Well, hey, cops kill poor people kill cops. That's the circle of life. Hakuna Matata.
Easy for the robots, swimming in your out the canal. Take one in an hour, and then after that, you can go.
All right. Hey, my TV's broken. I want to watch the riots.
Has an old one in the game room. It's hardwired. It should be working.
All right, hang on. You want me to go out there with the criminals?
Hakuna Matata, buddy.
Oh, that's cute.
That's not the circle of life as I recall from the Elton John original.
We should point out,
No,
incidentally...
I don't think that's wise. I don't think you should.
No?
I don't think you should point that out. Okay. Well, you can if you wish, but on your own head be it.
Okay. That whenever we play any clips on this show, they all have to be, to listen to in advance by the top production team to make sure that there's nothing in them that would be offensive.
Yeah, fair enough.
Okay. And so a red flag was raised by the fact that included a phrase not in the English language that the person doing the checking hadn't heard of before and wanted to know whether Hakuna Matata was rude.
Hakuna Matata. Hakuna Matata.
Anyway,
twice.
Okay. So what happens is that this riot is broken out is to do with the privatisation of water, which is a theme obviously which goes back to the days of Chinatown, and all these people are assembled in the hotel. Charlie Day, Sofia Boutella, and they're all sort of playing off against each other whilst Jodie Foster is running the hospital. Meanwhile, we have news that a criminal kingpin is on his way, played by Jeff Goldblum, playing Jeff Goldblum, who is going to be brought in, despite the fact they don't have a room, they don't want him there, they don't have space for him. So it's an odd film. I mean, I quite enjoyed it. It's, as I said, it does have a kind of cartoon air to it. There's a nice sort of satirical thing going on in the background about this dystopian future in which the writing is to do with the privatisation of water. There's a lot of fiery interplay between the various cast members as their characters, rub each other up the wrong way and double cross each other. There are also sort of outbursts of violence which are done in a fairly kind of explosive and, as I said before, sort of cartoony way. And Dave Bautista is really, really funny. I mean, he is really funny. The fact that he plays his character called Everest because he's like this man mountain, and the recurrent joke all the way through is that because he's got the thing, which he's a healthcare professional, as he says, whilst he's dragging criminals out into the back streets and disposing of them and showing them their badge. I am a healthcare professional, and he gets lots of laughs. And Jodie Foster brings a degree of class to the whole thing, partly because she's Jodie Foster, and partly because the backstory of her character involves tragedy, which you kind of know that's how did this person who appears to be this kind of this little old lady nurse, she's wearing sort of age makeup, how did she get to be in the middle of this, completely crazy criminal underworld? And then, of course, there is a backstory which involves tragedy and all the rest of it. I thought it was fairly disposable. It's not something that's going to linger in the mind much longer after you watch it. But whilst I was watching it, I thought it was fun. I thought it was kind of entertaining. It's not the most original thing I've ever seen. It does draw on a number of other sources, but that's perfectly fine. It's done with a level of flippancy that kind of enables it to get away with the fact that it is basically sort of recycling, ideas that you've seen done before, and some of them better, some of them worse. Sterling K. Brown's very good. As I said, Goldblum's good. Zachary Quinto, who plays Goldblum's son, it does a lot of seething. There's a lot of top seething by Zachary Quinto. So I thought it was fine. I thought it was disposable, and as I said, it's not going to linger long in the mind. But it as dystopian, neo-noir, cartoonish, self-referential thrillers go, it's one of the better ones. Although I imagine that if you ask me in 3 or 4 weeks' time to tell you the character names and the plot, they will have disappeared from my memory completely.